crash course on World Slavery Map. The slavery map is a visualization of the global distribution of slavery throughout history. Slavery has been a part of human history for thousands of years, and it has taken many different forms in different parts of the world. Here is a crash course on the slavery map, including some interesting stories and examples to bring the history of slavery to life. 1. Ancient slavery. Slavery was common in many ancient civilizations, including Greece and Rome. Slaves were often captured in war or purchased from slave traders, and they were used for manual labor, household work, and even as teachers or doctors. In some cases, slaves could earn their freedom or even rise to positions of power, but most were treated as property with no rights or freedoms. 2. Atlantic slave trade. The Atlantic slave trade was the largest forced migration in human history. From the 16th to the 19th century, millions of Africans were captured and sold into slavery in the Americas. European powers, including Portugal, Spain, France, Britain, and the Netherlands, established colonies in the Americas that relied on enslaved labor for the production of cash crops like sugar, tobacco, and cotton. Slaves were treated brutally, forced to work long hours in dangerous conditions with little or no pay, and subjected to torture, rape, and other forms of violence. 3. Slavery in the Americas. Slavery continued in the Americas even after the abolition of the slave trade. Slaves were used for a variety of purposes, including agricultural work, mining, and domestic labor. Slaves in the United States were often subjected to brutal treatment, including whippings, branding, and even amputations for disobedience. The Underground Railroad was a network of people who helped slaves escape to freedom in the North, and it played an important role in the abolitionist movement. 4. Slavery in Asia. Slavery also existed in many parts of Asia, including China, India, and the Middle East. In some cases, slaves were captured in war or purchased from slave traders, while in others, they were born into slavery or forced into it as a punishment for debt or other crimes. In some cases, slaves were able to earn their freedom or rise to positions of power, but most were treated as property with no rights or freedoms. 5. Modern-day slavery. Despite the abolition of slavery in most parts of the world, it still exists today in many forms. Forced labor, human trafficking, and debt bondage are all examples of modern-day slavery. According to the International Labour Organization, there are an estimated 21 million people in forced labor around the world today, and many of them are children. One interesting story from the history of slavery is the case of Olaudah Equiano, a former slave who wrote about his experiences in his autobiography, The Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olaudah Equiano. Equiano was born in Nigeria in the 18th century and was captured and sold into slavery as a child. He was transported across the Atlantic and sold to a British naval officer, who gave him the name Gustavus Vassa. Equiano worked as a slave in several different places, including Virginia and the Caribbean, before eventually buying his own freedom. He became an abolitionist and worked to end slavery in the British Empire. Another interesting story is the case of Harriet Tubman, an escaped slave who became a leader of the Underground Railroad. Tubman escaped slavery in Maryland and went on to make numerous trips back to the South to help other slaves escape to freedom. She was known as the Moses of her people and became a key figure in the abolitionist movement. The history of slavery is a complex and often painful one, but it is important to remember the experiences of those who were enslaved and to continue to work towards justice and equality for all people. The slavery map helps us to understand the global reach of slavery, and its enduring impact on the world today. Here are some major leaders, who played a significant role in the liberation of slaves throughout human history. A. Toussaint Louverture. Toussaint Louverture was a Haitian revolutionary leader who played a key role in the Haitian Revolution, which ultimately led to the abolition of slavery in Haiti. Born into slavery in Saint-Domingue, now Haiti, Louverture became a leader of the slave rebellion and helped to defeat the French colonial forces. B. William Wilberforce. William Wilberforce was a British politician and abolitionist who played a key role in the abolition of the slave trade in the British Empire. Wilberforce was a member of Parliament and worked tirelessly for years to pass legislation that would outlaw the slave trade. The Slave Trade Act was finally passed in 1807, and Wilberforce continued to work towards the full abolition of slavery until his death in 1833. C. Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was an American abolitionist who escaped from slavery, and became a leader of the abolitionist movement. Douglass was an influential writer and speaker who used his personal experience to advocate for the abolition of slavery, and the rights of African Americans. E. Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was an escaped slave who became a leader of the Underground Railroad, a network of people and safe houses that helped slaves escape to freedom in the North. Tubman made numerous trips back to the South to help other slaves escape and played a key role in the abolitionist movement. F. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary and politician who played a key role in the end of apartheid in South Africa. Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years for his opposition to apartheid, but he continued to advocate for freedom and equality for all South Africans. He became the first black president of South Africa in 1994 and worked to promote reconciliation and social justice. G. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States and played a key role in the abolition of slavery in the United States. Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, which declared that all slaves in Confederate-held territory were to be set free. The 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, was ratified in 1865, just months after Lincoln's assassination. These leaders, among many others, fought tirelessly for the liberation of slaves and the abolition of slavery. Their legacies continue to inspire us to work towards a more just and equitable world, free from the oppression of slavery and discrimination. In conclusion, the slavery map provides us with a powerful tool for understanding the history of slavery and its enduring legacy. From ancient civilizations to the modern day, slavery has taken many different forms and has impacted countless lives. By studying the slavery map and the stories of those who were enslaved, we can gain a greater appreciation for the struggles and triumphs of those who fought for freedom and justice. It is important that we continue to work towards a world where all people are treated with dignity and respect, free from the scourge of slavery and exploitation. Here is a poem on slavery. Enslaved, they toil in the sun's fierce blaze. Their bodies racked with pain, their spirits dazed. Their captors claim them as mere chattel. Devoid of human dignity, they rattle. Forced to work from dawn until dusk. Their only reward, a life of disgust. Their families torn apart, their futures bleak. They dare not dream, lest hope they seek. Their tears flow like rivers, their hearts heavy. They long for freedom, for a life less dreary. But the chains that bind them are strong and true. Their captors have no mercy, no compassion too. Yet even in the depths of their despair, they find solace in their shared prayer. For they know that freedom is their right. And one day, they will rise and take flight. Their struggle may be long, their path unclear. But their spirits are strong, their will unbreakable, dear. For they are human, worthy of love and grace. And one day, they will break free from this disgrace. So let us stand with them, in solidarity. And fight for their liberation, for humanity. For until all are free, none truly are. Let us end slavery, once and for all, near and far. We hope this video has given you a taste of all the incredible experiences Canada has to offer. If you're ready to start planning your own adventure to Canada, please ensure to use our booking.com referral link, https://www.booking.com/index.html. AID equals 7989335 to book your flights, hotels, car rentals, local attractions, and more. It's an easy and kind way to support this channel and make sure you get the best possible deals on your trip. Thank you. And Hub Metaverse team at Vancouver, Canada, CA.